throughout the nation and around the globe. From his heart to yours, it's Dearjames Live, bringing you intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And we have beautiful energies. We are working with a lot in this episode as we close out October. We have the sun that entered Scorpio on the 23rd of October, Neptune returning to Pisces on the 22nd of October, the Libra new moon that happened on the 21st of October. We have a grand water trine, and we're looking at the 3-eye atlas. All of this culminating because it's heading somewhere big. Welcome, Kiki. Welcome, Alicia. And let's just jump in. I want to look at the astrological chart first. We're going to begin there. This is the chart for the sun enters Scorpio, which occurred on the 23rd. And the interesting thing was this instantly said to me, and I'm going to bounce between these, but it instantly said to me, this slingshot, bullseye, and then bullet point of entry. Welcome, Heather. And so as you look, you see there in the circle in the center, there's the red lines. At the top, it's Jupiter. You come down to the kind of lower left, it's the symbol for the sun. Go across to the bottom right, that's Pluto. So the sun is squaring Jupiter, squaring Pluto. These are confrontational or frictional aspects that need release. And there's a loose opposition between Jupiter and Pluto. The sun, it's the one that's pulling back the slingshot. And the sun is the life force. And then it goes directly across and it hits its bullseye. And that bullseye is right there. When you look across, you see Neptune, and the descendant is right at that anaretic degree of 29 degrees Pisces. That is the end of the astrological season, year, element, and the beginning of the new. Aries begins the new. So there's this aspect of the fact that the slingshot, the sun is at the apex, pulling back. It hits its bullseye, and that this bullet point, this point of entry, well, a bullet point can mean to highlight something in a spreadsheet or in a presentation. It's the little parens with a dot. This was speaking more of like all of these energies are culminating, all of this building, this massive changing that we've been speaking about, and it's going to hit its bullseye. It's right at that degree from the old to the new. And with that, it brings us to our main theme. I'm going to go backwards a little bit, but our main theme is truth and transformation. The eternal light shines brightly. So this hitting the bullseye is about, the revelation of truth, transformation, and how we move beyond where we've been. And you see this beautiful ribbon. You're going to see that it looks like water, waves of light, the ribbons of light. You're going to see that theme playing out in these energies in this particular episode. And so truth and transformation, the eternal light shines brightly. And let me just go to what eternal light. So spiritually, eternal light generally symbolizes a divine, enduring presence, truth, and guidance that illuminates the path to spiritual understanding and hope. It represents God or the divine's constant presence, Christ's guiding light, the enduring nature of spiritual truth, and the inner light or spirit that individuals are meant to cultivate. The meaning varies across traditions, but the core concept is one of everlasting spiritual illumination that dispels darkness and ignorance. So it signifies the perpetual presence of the divine, which is always there, even during dark times. The light represents divine truth and guidance that leads individuals toward knowledge and spiritual clarity. You're going to hear the words chaos and clarity in these energies. Many traditions suggest that the eternal light is also within each person, a spark of divine light that needs to be cultivated and reflected outwards through one's actions. This is about remembering. We exercise our minds, we exercise our bodies, we exercise our nutrition. When are we exercising our soul, our divinity, our light? And to remember that it too needs care and attention and exercise to be robust, to be fully present. And lastly, it's a symbol of hope and salvation, a promise of a blessed existence, and a way to be rescued from sin and darkness. And in some contexts, it can represent an enduring legacy of knowledge or faith, divine wisdom. In Christianity, Jesus is the light of the world, an eternal light that offers salvation and guides believers. His followers are called to reflect this light through good deeds. In Judaism, the Ner Tamid, the eternal flame, in synagogues symbolizes God's continuous presence. Some also interpret the command for light continually as a reminder for individuals to constantly rekindle their own inner dedication to the divine, to God, Allah, Buddha, the all that is. In Hinduism, it can represent the everlasting splendor of deities like Krishna, or the inherent self-conscious nature of the divine soul, the Atman. And lastly, in Mahayana Buddhism, it symbolizes the teachings of the Buddha, which dispel the darkness of ignorance. So you can see that through multiple traditions, we have this dispelling of darkness and ignorance, and this celebrating, just bringing it back up, the beauty, this truth and transformation. The eternal light, the eternal flame shines brightly. That light is within us. And it's a massive reminder at this time, because the sun, the life force, is going to hit the bullseye. It's pulling back the slingshot. It's going to make a direct hit. It's like the bullet, when you're at the shooting range or something, if for those that do that, it's about hitting the bullseye, playing darts, hitting the bullseye. And it's right at that degree between the ending and the beginning, the old, the new. The unseen is saying, we're going to hit the bullseye. We're going to hit our mark. And it's about the restoring, the renewal of truth and transformation. The eternal light shines brightly. It's not dimming. It may look like that on the world stage, and Lord knows we are bearing witness to some very dark activities, energies, times. However, the truth, the light, prevails. So welcome, Deborah. Welcome, Olivia. So now let's move forward. We're going to jump back we're going to stay where we are. Currently, the sun entering Scorpio. It happened on the 23rd. And this is an excerpt from the October 2025 newsletter from ASTROLOGY. The sun enters Scorpio on the 23rd of October. During the transition, it forms a yod with Uranus, expect the unexpected, the higher mind, and Neptune, the highest ideals and or the illusion delusion. A yod, or a finger of God, in astrology is a rare and significant aspect pattern where two planets form a sextile. That's a harmonious aspect, 60 degrees apart from each other, and both are in a quincunx. It's 150 degrees from each other to a third planet at the apex, at the point, forming a narrow triangle in a chart. This configuration is often associated with a fated life purpose, intense challenges, and you're going to see where we're going to talk about fate and destiny a little bit later on. So here we are, it's forming this yod, or this finger of God, and that it's a fated life purpose and intense challenges and a strong drive to fulfill a destiny, requiring adjustment and hard work to channel the unique energy. This slingshot, this hitting the bullseye, right at that anaretic degree, at the end of the astrological cycle and the beginning of the astrological cycle, or year, if you will, and how it's fated, it's destiny. On October 24th, the Sun squares Pluto, that's a frictional aspect, and Jupiter squares Chiron, the wounded healer, and Jupiter, the great benefic. Pluto's the lord of the underworld. Most of the planets are now in water signs. A grand water trine forms between October 24th and October 28th, so this just occurred. Mercury, Mars, and Lilith are in Scorpio, Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces, and Jupiter is in Cancer. On October 29th, which is today, Mercury trines, that's harmonious aspect in astrology, so Mercury trines Neptune, then it enters Sagittarius shortly thereafter, and moves on to oppose Uranus. Mars forms a trine with Saturn, so there's a lot of astrology here from ASTROLOGY. Here's the point. The energy of these days is extraordinarily dense. The strong emphasis on water signs, combined with the grand trine, suggests that once things start to move, they will be hard to stop. I mean, think of this as water, and when a dam bursts or, the floodgates open, the force of water, it just goes. There's no stopping it. It just goes. So here ASTROLOGY is talking about it suggests that once things start to move, they will be hard to stop. Feelings and emotions play a central role. Where they are suppressed, they will forcefully break through. This applies not only to personal life, but also to collective events, which can assume powerful dimensions now. Because Jupiter is involved, the great benefic, we can expect this period to bring positive developments in the end. First, however, a phase of chaos is possible. For Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, again, speak of great surrender and the difficulty of setting boundaries. So remember, they have retrograded this final last time. They're going back to the very end degrees of Pisces before they officially move forward into Aries. The conjunction of Mars and Lilith and Mercury in Scorpio points to conflict. Small provocations and disputes can now have considerable consequences and gain great momentum. So again, in our individual lives, be mindful of our words, our thoughts, our actions. Be mindful of being triggered. Be mindful, that respond, don't react. Just take a beat, take a breath, and then, because these energies are dense, and once things start moving, they're going to be hard to stop. And this brings us to our first quote. Water in motion is a mighty force that is hard to resist. So it's about going with the flow, and it's about, we're humans. We're not meant to swim upriver. That's salmon. Humans are meant to flow with the water, with the river, with the flow of the energy. So water in motion is a mighty force that is hard to resist. If you suddenly find yourself swept up in a current of events, allow it to carry you for a while. It is wiser to wait until the waves have calmed. And so it's just about being in the flow, if you are triggered, step back, take a breath, walk away. And if it's positive in nature, you're swept up in the enthusiasm of something or the opportunity of something, flow with it, remain calm, respond, all of these beautiful actions. Because number one, from the unseen, moving beyond or through the chaos to the paradise beyond. That's where these waters, this grand water trine, all this, remember, we are water. We are the living waters and this light. And so we're moving beyond or through the chaos to the paradise beyond. That's where we're headed. That's where the bullseye is, or the bullet is focused. It's on the bullseye and that slingshot being pulled back. And we are to, number two, from the unseen, flow with the great waters. Change ahead. Change is up ahead. So again, in these last 2 months, we're at the final end of October. We're literally closing out this 9-year. 2025 is a 9-year. And so we're closing that cycle out to begin this whole new, and look at the shift. I mean, by February and April of 2026, all the major planets have shifted into their new signs. And for those 5 planets to align at this time, click, 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 to do that simultaneously in this short 14, 16-month window hasn't happened in eons, astrologically, as above, so below. So it's to recognize these massive shifts that are taking place. In the beginning is the end, in the end is the beginning. And we're witnessing the collapse of the end. They're trying hard to hang on to the old. However, there is a force greater than humanity. There always has been. That hits the bullseye. That does what it needs to do to advance. And here's this beautiful, remember we've had this image sometime. This is all about advance. And it's more than just advance. You know, it's really about how this is a massive change from where we've been. We have led all of this time in our lifetimes, 2,000 plus years, we have led with ego, mind, personality, human. We have led with the divine masculine, patriarchal era energies. And we need them. We want a healthy ego, mind, personality, human, divine masculine. We want that. However, we want that in service to, in concert with the divine feminine, the matriarch, you know, this intuition, the soul guiding us, leading us, it being the light that illuminates, that leads. And so this exercising of the soul, this is where we come back to recognize that A, we have one. We have a soul. That soul is connected to source, to the divine. It knows all. Might we listen to it? Might we follow it? Might we go as guided? And then utilize the creative force, the divine masculine, the purity of it, to take action, to actually bring it to life. But it's where we've been is we forget the soul, we forget the divine, we forget our soul source connection. We demonize it, we diminish it, we leave it out. And then we have 2,000 plus years to say, well, how's that working out? Where's that gotten us? And we're witnessing where it's gotten us. The height of the height of the height of corruption, of shadow, of goo. And they know. They know. You can feel it. You know that the clock is moving, the time is shifting. And thereby, it's they would put a human being in a cabinet and they turn it would start blowing wind and cash would start flowing all over the place. And they're just trying to grab as much of it as they can and stuff it in their pockets. That's what this moment is like. And yet it's futile. Because you can never satiate that lack. That's what it is, it's lack. So there's no way to, satiate that lack. The way through, soul source connection, the divine, your light, your divinity, and moving and shifting willingly into the new. That's where real abundance lives and resides. Let me just, number 3 from the unseen is a prism of light awakens you, awakens all. And this brings us to our mantra, I awaken in the new. So you see this, a prism of light. This is the image. The light is shining through. It's creating this prism. A prism of light awakens you, awakens all. And then they said, to what degree? To what level? And this is all about the fact that awareness, consciousness, being awakened, everyone's on a spiral, ascending. But not everyone's at the same place. Some are at the tip, some are at the tail cone, some are in the basement, So, but there's an awakening, a prism of light. And remember, the light, in traditional references, being blinded by light, being transformed by light. And it brings us to our key word. Let me just get to that really quickly. Our key word here, transfiguration. A complete change of form or appearance into a more beautiful or spiritual state. A metamorphosis, an exalting, glorifying, or spiritual change. A striking change in appearance or character or circumstances. In Christianity, the transfiguration of Master Jesus is an event described in the New Testament where Jesus is transfigured and becomes radiant in glory upon a mountain. So this is about, the alchemy, the transmutation, the turning base metals and elements into gold. And you notice the image was silver and gold. It represents the divine feminine, the divine masculine. So we're talking about how the light, truth and transformation, transfiguration, massive changes in humanity, in our experience. Welcome, Colleen. And she's speaking about empathy and compassion, and about people being starved and so forth. So yes, again, remember, with the height of the shadow comes extraordinary chaos and, oppression and suppression and just cruelty, because they're terrified. They are cleaving to a way that is leaving, and they know it is leaving. You can see it in the mass demonstrations of people around the globe being awakened, illumined, recognizing their innate divinity, their innate sovereignty, their innate power, empowerment. And so once, that it's 3 point something percent or something of any civilization, that tipping point. But again, it's to remember that the divine, the unseen, is saying to us, truth and transformation, the eternal light shines brightly. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's present. Everything's purposeful. We have to allow things to play out. Because again, it's not to forget. When the height of the shadow, the goo, is so loud, so in your face, the counter, it's Newton's cradle, and that counter, for every force or for every action, there's an equal and greater reaction or response. It's to remember that the height of the goo awakens people. It awakens them to say, I don't want that. I don't like that. I don't want that for my fellow human being. I don't want it for myself. And it awakens people. What they believe they're doing is controlling the narrative, controlling. But the higher octave, the unseen, the divine says, no. You believe you're in control, but that's not true. We are. And that is true. Mother Nature, man can construct something, wipes it out in a mere second. So it's to remember we're the guest, not the host. It's to remember our divinity, our co-creation, and how we co-create with the divine. But it's in concert with it, and the divine is your soul. It's your soul source connection. We see what happens when we fail to do that. When we act solely from our divine masculine, patriarchal, ego mind personality selves, it's not pretty. It's not congruent. It's inharmonious. It creates dis-ease. That's where we find ourselves. And so now let me take us to astrobutterfly.com. And they are speaking about the new moon in Libra. Who's afraid of Virginia Woolf? On October 21st, we have a new moon at 28 degrees Libra. So this just occurred. And we're adding these all together because all of these energies are culminating. They're playing out. The new moon is square, that's frictional, square Pluto and Jupiter, and it's opposite Chiron. This grand cross new moon is bound to push all our buttons, prompting us to reevaluate who we are, especially in the context of our close relationships, Libra. This is a pressure test new moon that raises a fundamental identity question. What's truly me, Sun Moon? What's my wounds? What are my wounds? Chiron. What's other people's narratives? Jupiter. And what's being shaped by forces outside my control? Pluto. Because Pluto, the god of the underworld, brings everything up. It's not within our control. It's going to bring it up for everyone to see. And we were just speaking about this. What's the world I wish to live in? Who as a person am I? Who do I want to be? What's What's a bridge too far? What's a line in the sand that I'm not going to cross? That's why this Libra new moon, the grand water trine, the sun moving into Scorpio, the sun in Scorpio. Scorpio's ruled by Pluto. It's the underworld. It's bringing it all out for us to see. AstroButterfly.com continues, we are not other people's narratives, nor the beliefs and culture scripts we grow up with. Yet we are shaped by them. We are the products of our times. What's important to us is shaped by the world we live in, yet it's not who we are. So see, we have a choice in all of this. Where we are in this moment is 1,000, a million choices that have brought us to this point, and thus it's purposeful. What's our role in it? What choices in our individual lives and our collective lives do we need to re-examine? Do we wish to change? So that when the sun, when we hit the bullseye and we move into the new, we've released all of that baggage, all of that weight. I keep hearing the word, all of that garbage. We are not our wounds, yet they live at the core of our being, drawing us back to their gravity in ways we can't quite explain. We don't want to go there because we don't want to be triggered. We don't want to face the pain. Yet this avoidance means we take some actions and not others. It means we might hold back from risks, stay in situations that feel safe, or repeat patterns just to avoid the sting of the primal wound. AstroButterfly.com is articulating this so poignantly and brilliantly. When we fear ourselves, when we fear or hesitate to look at ourselves, to take stock, to take ownership, look at what happens. We repeat things. We stay stagnant in places we should have left long ago. We miss beautiful opportunities that our soul has chosen with us, for us. And so it's about this question of, do you want to delay your divinity, your greatness? Because there's always more. It's just a point of, are we willing to release it? Are we willing to let go of the old? And this is what we're seeing on the world stage. Such fear of letting go of the old. Heaven forbid I will not be in power the way I was. And yet you fail to receive or accept how you might evolve and walk into great, extraordinary power, divinity, power, empowerment. But it's in a new way. And it works for everyone, for the people, we the people, for all. Is it different? Yes. But that's not a bad thing. That's a really beautiful, great thing. AstroButterfly.com. Our life is shaped by our wound, yet that's not who we are. And there is Pluto, the unavoidable cycles of life and death, the raw, unnegotiable power of nature. And while we all play by Pluto's rules, we are not Pluto. So we are subject to the rules. We need to face things or not, but look what happens when we don't face them. It's chaos. It's madness. It's destruction because we're not facing it. We're burying our heads in the sand versus the purity, the release, the renewal, the moving beyond through the chaos to the paradise beyond. It's the land of milk and honey, the promised land, to this paradise beyond. There was a time that came before us where it was eternal spring. It's written about. Where life on earth was eternal spring, true north. That's a paradise beyond. And as we've said, it's the one that came before us. It's the one before us. It's the one to come. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is a play on Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf, but with the intellectual, emotionally complex Virginia Woolf substituted for the monster. In the play and the movie with the same name, the characters construct elaborate fantasies and illusions in their marriage to cope with disappointment and pain. The core psychological theme is, are you afraid of facing the truth? This is about truth and transformation. The eternal light shines brightly. There's no escaping the truth, the eternal light, the divine. And so, are you afraid of facing the truth? Because it's not the relationship that's the problem. It's our narratives. It's our unwillingness to face the truth that keeps us imprisoned in them. When we face the truth, we know what to do. You know, it's Kenny Rogers in my head with, I think it's the gambler. You know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You know what to do because you're listening to the truth. You're listening to your soul. When we are run by narratives, the societies, our own wounded selves, or the world's as a whole, we go through life blindfolded. We move from one relationship to the next, but the cycle keeps repeating, the same scenario replaying again and again, because of course it's never them. It's always and has always been about us. It's an inside job. Everywhere you go, there you are, that idiom. It's when we face ourselves, then know thyself, we know ourselves, and we recognize that it's not them, they're a character in our play. It's always going to be us. And what's on offer for us, for me, individual, collective. And it's not in the sense, this is astrobutterfly.com, not in the sense of who's right or wrong, and not even from the perspective of whether we should be in a relationship or not, but in the sense that our own awareness is the only thing we truly have control over. Our own awareness, consciousness, whether we choose to listen to our soul source connection is the only thing we have control over. Do we choose to go as guided, or do we choose to ignore it, to dismiss it? And that internal compass, that internal connection is your true global God positioning satellite, global positioning satellite. It knows what you're to do or not do, as the case may be. And are we listening to it? And in conclusion, astrobutterfly.com, the new moon in Libra invites us to look at ourselves and life as it is, to have the existential courage to cut through outdated narratives and meet what's real without the safety net of illusion. This is just getting real with ourselves. This is where we are. The sun, slingshot, bullseye, is moving beyond or through the chaos, because that's the choice. Do you want to remain in chaos? Confusion, destruction, doubt, fear, lack, limitation? Or do you want to reach the paradise beyond? And it's about how you do that is flow with the great waters, the living waters, the light that is within us, our divinity, our divine selves. Flow with the great waters. Change is ahead. And a prism of light awakens you, awakens all. To what degree? To what degree the prism of light awakens you is dependent and incumbent upon you. Step up, get in the flow, face the music, so to speak. Look at all of these things that need to be, empty the vessel. All of these things, those are choices. The more we're in alignment, lockstep with that, the greater the prism of light elevates your awareness, your consciousness. It awakens you at a greater level. That's all dependent on each of us. It's all dependent on each of us, you. Number 4 from the unseen. They said, exceptional excellence, ... a stone's throw away. And then I had these images of Excalibur, King Arthur, Our Lady of the Lake. And of course, Our Lady of the Lake, it's a magical sword. Excalibur is a magical sword that the Lady of the Lake gives to King Arthur when the sword of the stone is broken. The sword that's pulled out of the stone breaks. But she provides him, divine feminine, providing the divine masculine, she provides him with this magical sword. Swords represent clarity, cutting through, truth. And there was this aspect then also of it's a stone's throw away. and it was the Stone of Destiny. The Stone of Destiny originates in Scotland, and it conferred kingship or queenship, and it was used in coronations where the sovereign or the person chosen to be king or queen would accept and make their oath to the divine. And that stone, it's a literal real stone, and then it was used in England and the United Kingdom, and then it's been returned to Scotland. So there's this aspect about exceptional excellence. And exceptional excellence means an outstanding or extreme level of high quality, merit, or ability. It combines two words that describe something that is much better than average and superior to others. The phrase emphasizes the quality is not just good or excellent, but is truly exceptional or extraordinary. So it's beyond what is usual, ordinary, or average. It's extraordinary. The state of being extremely good or superior or of high quality. And the phrase suggests that combined, this exceptional excellence, the phrase suggests a level of performance, quality, or virtue that stands out significantly, even among other excellent examples. It's number 4 from the unseen. It's foundational. This exceptional excellence, ... a stone's throw away. So there's a beautiful, what the unseen is saying. They're talking about a paradise beyond, living waters, the light, the eternal light shines brightly, hitting the bullseye. You can see where all this, it sounds very mystical, magical, otherworldly, and yet again, as we've said many times, it doesn't make it any less true. It does not mean that that quality, that exceptional excellence, doesn't reside within all of us. It does. We simply need to choose it. And that is an individual and a collective choice. One is not incumbent or, on the other. We can individually choose it. And to what level? But it does require that we face, the Pluto, the Sun in Scorpio, we face all of the goo to recognize, my self-doubt, my self-confidence, all of these things that are weighing me down or holding me back, or they came from my upbringing, or however it may have come, or, from society and so forth. It's like they're showing me like a really heavy, wet animal skin, just soaked, heavy, and going, ugh, and just taking it off and thunk. Well, then we stand in our divinity, in our divine nature, our nakedness, our nudeness, because we've taken that burden and laid it down. It's no longer ours. And Alicia is speaking about the Stone of Scone. And so we have, yes, in the King Arthur and the Stone of Destiny and all of these mythical, and they're mythical, air quotes mythical, but they're also historical. So when we look to the United Kingdom and England and Wales and Ireland and Scotland, and if you've ever, Scotland, Northern Hebrides, I don't know that there is a veil. It is so mystical, magical, otherworldly. So if you've not been, don't delay. It is something for the richness of the soul, and that too will awaken you. Let me now move to, we are going to go to North Point Journal, and she is speaking about the 3-eye atlas. This is Pam Youngins, the astrologer at North Point Journal. And she said, in July of this year, an astronomer reported the sighting of an interstellar object moving through the night sky. An interstellar object is different than a comet, which originates from somewhere within our solar system. So comets originate from within our solar system. Interstellar objects originate outside of it. Big deal. Instead, these rare visitors, these interstellar objects, come from interstellar space beyond the boundaries of our sun's gravitational domain. This new interloper, which was given the name 3-eye atlas, is only the third interstellar object recorded in modern times. So it's only the third time, extremely rare. And we spoke about this either last episode or the episode before about Comet Lemon, Comet Swan, and 3I Atlas, this interstellar object. Scientists are surprised by the physical characteristics of 3I Atlas, which are highly unusual even for an interstellar object. It is extremely massive, up to 3 miles, 5 kilometers in length. It contains minerals that make it more complex than a comet, fueling the notion that it could be a manufactured object rather than a naturally occurring one. It's getting even more mystical, magical. We're at here's Halloween. I'm trying to remember the proper name for it. Alicia will tell me. It is traveling at a very high speed, faster than any other known visitor to our solar system. 3I Atlas also appears to have a very unusual tail, which at times seems to be extending in front of it rather than behind it, as would normally be expected. Comets have tails. 3I Atlas appears to have a tail and then appears to have that tail invert and go before it. So, what indeed is 3I Atlas? This is a question that doesn't yet have and may never have a definitive answer that we will all agree on. Metaphorically, some see it as a bird, some see it as a plane, and some believe it is Superman. So you get that it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman, because it's unknown to us. And yet, everything is purposeful in the universe. No matter what 3I Atlas really is, its very existence represents something important for humanity. Through its physical characteristics, it contradicts our assumptions about what is possible. Its very existence stretches our imaginations and inspires us to seek truth in new ways. Truth and transformation. The object symbolizes something that is completely new and unknown, and perhaps undefinable from our current level of understanding and technological expertise. It's beyond our current understanding, our conscious awareness, and yet a prism of light awakens you, awakens all at different levels. In providing this puzzle for us to ponder, 3I Atlas is opening our minds to even greater mysteries, and no doubt preparing us for more experiences in the future that will challenge our scientists as well as our own personal beliefs and expectations. This is about, expanding our consciousness, awakening us to our soul source connection, moving beyond the square box we've allowed ourselves to be placed in. And this is true when we're looking at what's happening, this collapse of the previous era. In its height, we all loved it. There was, it was joyful, and we found a sweet spot, and maybe at the peak of it or the center of it. But then as it moves towards decay, decline, stagnation, because the new is arriving, it presses all the buttons, it pushes all the boundaries. And there are those that are fearful, so fearful that they're clinging, they're trying to cleave and cling to it. It's that train over the abyss that we've shown. And yet before us is the magic, awe, and wonder of what is before us, what's unknown to us. And yet it is us, it's a part of us. Unity, oneness, the divine, that divine spark, the light, the living waters. So it's not outside of us. It's simply right on time. It's divine timing. It's right on time to awaken us. So Pam Youngin's North Point Journal. 3I Atlas is at perihelion this week, meaning closest to the sun, with its closest pass to our sun today, October 29th, and tomorrow, October 30th. While the brightness of our central star makes the object less physically visible at this time, it is also shining a light on whatever the object represents metaphysically and emits energetically. So because it's like being Cazimi, when a planet is Cazimi in the heart of the sun. Well, 3I Atlas, today and tomorrow, is in the heart of the sun. One could say Cazimi, in Cazimi with the sun. Well, that's going to amplify, magnify, purify, bring to light. So Pam Youngins is speaking about, what it represents metaphysically energetically, spiritually, and how it transforms. She goes on to say, the interstellar object will be at its closest proximity to Earth on December 19th. This is also the day of a powerful new moon in Sagittarius that is conjunct both Venus and Mars, closely square Saturn, Neptune, and tightly trine Chiron, Eris. With the Capricorn solstice occurring just 2 days after that moon lunation, that third week of December is setting up to be, quote, an interesting and pivotal time. The bullseye, we're moving towards it. Number 5 from the unseen is lost in translation. Clarity returns, revives itself. So again, that when we take that heavy cloak off, the clarity of who we are, the purity of who we are, our light, our living waters, everything comes in, becomes clear. The sun and three-eye Atlas being Cazimi together. And then it comes closer, comes towards Earth. Awakening, illumination, transfiguration, transformation. There's all of these, you can see these illuminating words. So as we move then, I want to go to not number 4, it's Astrology by Lauren. And she's speaking about Neptune returns to Pisces. And she begins with a quote from The Stranger is a Theologian by Dennis Diderot. Wandering in a vast forest at night, I have only a faint light to guide me. A stranger appears and says to me, my friend, you should blow out your candle in order to find your way more clearly. See, the candle is external, it's outside of us. And here, the stranger says to us, my friend, you should blow out your candle in order to find your way more clearly. The living waters, the internal light that shines brightly, it's eternal. This is talking about our soul, the wisdom of our soul, the illumination of our soul. That light that knows all, that will guide you perfectly. And when we individually extinguish that external candle, that external light, to listen and go as guided from our internal light, it's a game changer. It's a whole new world. It's a whole different way of being. And that's where we are. That's what's before us. So Astrology by Lauren. On September 1st, Saturn returned to Pisces for some unfinished business. It is still wending its way back through the latter degrees of the sign until it finally stations on November 28th. While here in Pisces, there can be this experience of things fading and departing, of needing to tie up some loose ends, of things being sloughed off and released. That was snake medicine back some episodes ago. As a result, we could find ourselves floundering, trying to find something recognizable to hold on to while the tides keep shifting us back and forth. You see all of these references to water, to light, chaos, clarity, and this shifting us back and forth. This is a very uncomfortable feeling as our usual structure, rules, and systems fade. They're collapsing because new ones are arriving. On October 22nd, Neptune also returned to the very last degrees of Pisces, where it will remain until January 26th, 1/26/26. Like taking a deep dive into the murky waters of the past, we are being drawn back to assimilate, to process, and make sense of what once was. This can be emotionally overwhelming as we feel drawn into this vortex of disillusion. And this is important. When you see the amount of uncertainty and chaos and destruction going on, we can see that through the lens of harm, which of course exists. It's absolutely happening. Cruelty, harm. And we can equally see it, this rapid destruction of the old systems, the old ways. because this is fast moving. These energies are happening, boom, 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 boom. By early, April of 26, all of this new energies, the planets have shifted, they've moved. So my point is, this isn't a slow roll. This isn't going to be decades or centuries and so forth. This is happening in a very compressed, dense energies, compressed 16-month window. And so it is to look beyond the surface, to align with the purity of the new, this purity of your divine nature, your souls, so that you're right on time, hitting your own bullseye when it all occurs, when these energies shift, as opposed to cleaving and clinging to the past. It's about being in the flow. Number 6, from the unseen. Follow God, the divine, the unseen, to your rightful destiny. I'm going to come back to Astrology by Lauren. Rightful destiny refers to the belief that one has a preordained and proper purpose in life, often seen as a divine plan or a natural culmination of their efforts. It speaks to us always knowing there's something I've come to do. My soul knows. It knows what it's come to do. And so it's this culmination. It combines the idea of a preordained future with the idea of personal agency or effort in achieving it, suggesting a purpose that is both divinely appointed and realized through individual action, beliefs, and hard work. See, this isn't just we sit back and do nothing. No. In exercising our soul, that's about listening to the divine, to the unseen, to this preordained plan. And then once I know what to do or not to do, my personal agency, my creative force, is invoked to take action or inaction, as the case may be. So it's core concepts, the belief that a person has a specific ultimate purpose or destination that they were meant to fulfill. The idea that this destiny is either set by a higher power, by the divine, or by a greater force in the universe. The role of the individual is fulfilling their destiny through choices, actions, and personal growth. A mindset that looks forward with a sense of possibility rather than dwelling on past regrets or the past. And achieving a sense of meaning, happiness, and fulfillment by living in accordance with one's perceived rightful destiny. In many religions, a rightful destiny is seen as the divine's purpose for an individual, a role to play in a divine plan, and a future that is aligned with divine will. A belief that destiny is a result of both a larger cosmic order and the individual's own choices, requiring one to harness their inner power to chart their course. The concept is also framed as designing one's own destiny through intentional living, utilizing unique gifts and abilities, and overcoming personal lack, limitations, fear. So we have this beautiful follow the divine, follow God, the divine, the unseen, to your rightful destiny. This preordained, in concert with free will, choice, paradise beyond. That's what all of this has been culminating and coming towards, working towards. So we go back to Astrology by Lauren. Expect all sorts of feelings to arise as it does so. The intriguing, the inspiring, as well as fear and even dread for what once was. The murky bottom is being stirred up, bringing it all back up to the surface. In the very last degree of Pisces, there is this anticipation of loss, a sadness for what once was, and ennui and despair as we stand here betwixt and between, that's a previous show, betwixt and between the past and the future that is still so impossibly uncertain. So there is melancholy. There is actual, yes, we're experiencing either the fear, the melancholy of the loss of what was, but others are experiencing the fear, the heightened fear of what was. Because the new, what's before us, it's uncertain in the sense of we haven't experienced it yet. We don't know it. It's the beast we don't know. And yet it's not, what a beautiful beast. I mean, Beauty and the Beast, you know, he was actually a prince. He was transformed by love, by light, and restored, clarity and all of this restored, because he had to experience his insufferableness, his arrogance, his hubris, his entitlement. So he had to experience that. And then love, purity, love, light, restored him. Astrology by Lauren continues, we are going to have to allow it all to wash over us. There's another water element to wash over us as we navigate this liminal pass. Just know that even in the face of loss, it is not the form, but the essence of what once was that matters in the end. Know that Neptune returning to Pisces is also a gift. It affords us the ability to more deeply connect with our own core self. This is your soul source connection. Call it what you may, this is an opportunity to connect to spirit, to our essential goodness, our inner guides, and our highest ideals. We need to do this because by connecting to self, it will lead us to where we need to go to live a more meaningful life. So it's going to lead us, the soul source connection, your soul, it's going to lead you true north. It's going to lead all of us to that destiny, that destination, that paradise beyond. She says, ask yourself, what are the things, the experiences that invest your life with meaning? What are the things that are worth living for? What are those things that are worth sacrificing for? The conjunction between Saturn and Neptune, and remember, they're co-journeying, and they have been and they will continue to do so. They're co-journeying, so the conjunction between Saturn and Neptune on February 20th, at the very first degree of the first sign of the zodiac, this was February 20th of 2025, when they first moved into Aries, is about committing to a new path that will bring us the meaning that we are sorely seeking right now. But before we get there, we are first needing to reflect, make sense of, and gather the essence to us of the things that matter. So this is why Saturn and Neptune are retrograde. They're in the final degrees of Pisces, because we're going back to make sense of what really matters to me. What do I really want to, what do I care about, truly care about? It's not, I can assure you, it's not the masks, the identities, the labels, the stories, the scripts, you know, the material possessions, the status. All of that's just set dressing. What really matters is who you are at your center, at your soul source connection self. And so we're being asked to discover that, to recognize that truth. Because as we move into this matriarchal Aquarian, we the people era, that is for us, for the people, that's how we shine in unity. And by reciprocity of that, we receive individually, collectively, but it's a collective first, then we receive it, which is a complete inversion of where we've been. That's why it's confusing to people. She continues, Astrology by Lauren, we are preparing to cross a threshold which is yet to come. We cannot yet see what that looks like. We simply do not know. But in some way, we are all being asked to take a leap of faith, that we are being brought precisely where we need to be, even if it doesn't feel like it right now, because it's unknown to us. There will be guidance for this along the way. This week, Mercury and Mars in Scorpio are forming a water grand trine with Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn in Pisces. And with Neptune returning to Pisces, we will have a total of 6 planets in water signs. Water, the divine, the emotion, the living waters. This is about trusting your feelings, your intuition, your inner knowing to guide you. Jupiter's trine to Saturn, that's a harmonious aspect, which lasts through the middle of December, is about seeking understanding and trying to find our way in these extraordinary and uncertain times. Ultimately, Jupiter trine Saturn can help us to create a plan and a strategy. Jupiter is our vision for the future, which in Cancer is about empathy, caring, community, unity, and protecting. With Neptune retrograde back into Pisces and Jupiter in Cancer, our feelings could feel larger than life. Harness those feelings properly, positively, not reactively. Saturn's version of practical compassion in the sign of Pisces can serve as a lifeline, allowing us to see things as they are. Together, this is a recipe for creating a realistic plan for the future. But to do this well, we need to make those essential connections with our own inner knowing, our soul source connection. Rather than looking outside of ourselves for meaning and direction, Neptune advises us to look within. Neptune, in its highest expression, is a planet and messenger of that one divine essence that we all share, that divine spark within. Neptune is what lends meaning to our lives and imbues us with a sense of purpose. Neptune can lure us into a well of disillusionment, but it can also lead us to realize our highest ideals and dreams. Neptune speaks to us through the subtleties of the intuition and through our dreams. It speaks softly and requires us to be present. Neptune speaks to us through that part of us that is centered in the divine and which brings us that faith is needed in these times of uncertainty. It is that slight effervescent kernel of hope that even in the face of extraordinary change, that the good will somehow prevail. The eternal light shines brightly. It will prevail. It always has. It always will. And so may it be that we find comfort and guidance in these liminal times. In Astrology by Lauren, she concludes with a quote by Paulo Coelho. May love fill your heart, compassion guide your mind, faith rule your soul. And so this is about going as guided, about being one with the divine. And what was so interesting is the unseen gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. And I instantly knew that 7, and we have talked about this a lot, 7 is about the foundation of God's word. It's about the perfection, the completion, and the divine fulfillment. That's what 7 represents. So 7 is self-explanatory. It's the divine spark within us. It is the fulfillment of divine will, destiny. The arc of destiny moves forward. This advance and how we all get there. And I just want to go to our, very quickly, hexagram 3 is difficulty at the beginning. And it's our second quote. The birth of a new venture or relationship is an entry into the unknown. That is what we all are doing on a collective scale. New things seem to be rushing upon you, and confusion can easily take over. However, chaos is a powerful force when you harness it properly, so don't rush things now. Do not let events overwhelm you. As you take the first step, stay calm and ready to persevere. Ask for guidance and support. Challenges lie ahead, but they are challenges you can handle. Gain strength, find courage. Like a newborn fawn, the opportunity for rapid development is there, yet it is only through determination that the fawn can rise to its feet and grow to full stature. Keep going despite difficulties, and you will find the success that you desire. A key challenge at this time is to maintain clarity. Avoid lunging at solutions. Do not start a new project or relationship before thinking it through. Make yourself wait until a good course of action becomes clear. A careless step in the beginning can cause events to get out of control or spiral out of control later. And be sure to enlist the advice of experienced people and wise supporters. This is from divination.com. And lastly, hexagram 29, which is dangerous depths. It's also known as the abyss. That's in our numbers today. And this is our third quote. Exposure to danger brings good fortune to those who move beyond it. So chaos, danger, and so forth can be, of course, it's purposeful. And so it can bring about good fortune for those who move beyond it. When you remain in the chaos, in the confusion, clinging to the past, in the fear and the lack, it's not pretty because you haven't moved beyond it. You've quadrupled down on it. So, like boaters staying afloat through whitewater rapids, those faced with serious challenges need to remain alert. They must take all available precautions and, above all, keep going forward so as to remove themselves from harm's way. Once the danger has passed, everything flows smoothly downstream. Flow, light, living waters. It's about, flowing with the flow to remove ourselves from danger, to get to the paradise beyond. The positive side of danger is that it offers an excellent chance to cleanse the senses and strengthen the spirit. Surviving a crash can be tremendously reinvigorating, sharpening the eye and the mind for future challenges. It is reckless to court danger, but critical for inner development to not shrink from it either. Those who respond to dangerous conditions most effectively are those who can establish an inner bubble of calm in the midst of chaos. An emotionally stable center keeps one rooted in the moment, alerted and focused. Courage at times like these springs from focused attention and a brave willingness to penetrate the moment of peril to its very core, to reshape and transform it. Truth and transformation, the eternal light shines brightly. So, and last but not least, number 8, I'm mindful of the time, but number 8, Saturn from the unseen. Saturn and the South Node and the Midheaven. So on this astrological chart for Sun enters Scorpio, it's about the placement of Saturn, the placement of the South Node, and the placement of the Midheaven. And they said, so the Sabian symbols for the Saturn, for where Saturn is and where the South Node is. Saturn is about a karmic moment. The South Node is about a karmic confrontation. And the Midheaven is hour of decision. H-O-U-R, hour of decision. So what we recognize is that this Sun entering Scorpio at this moment, the bullseye, the slingshot, the bullet hitting its mark, it's a karmic moment. It's a karmic confrontation, confrontation. And it's an hour of decision. It's time in that aspect. So as we watch, again, all of these energies, three-eye atlas, all of these things that are occurring at this moment, it's the host, the master weaver, the all that is, orchestrating all of these beautiful events, karmic moments, confrontations, events, and they're going to hit the bullseye. They're not going to miss. The divine doesn't miss. Mankind does, but the divine does not. So be in the flow, be gentle with yourselves, but also be courageous and strong and empowered with great clarity. Move beyond the chaos, the abyss, the troubled waters to reach the other side. Cannot wait to see. We have 2 shows left in this 4th season of Weekly Wisdom and Insights that will complete the 4 years together. So to all of you, thank you so much for your presence, your comments, your energy, your spirit, and your willingness to go as guided. It cannot be underestimated. So namaste to all of you, and I look forward to seeing what the unseen has in store for us next. Until then, we'll see you next week. Be well.
You've been listening to Dearjames Live. Gain intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions, and so much more by tuning in next week and visiting dearjames.com.